Hey guys, figured we'd do a little something on the Camaro today, make it kind of cool. Story with the Camaro was my pops. I kind of talked about it in the introduction. We was actually trying to make it run in the introduction, but realized the dang thing was out of fuel, so had to get some gas for it and get it in and make sure it fired up good. Camaro's a 1982. My pops bought it in 1986, and shortly after that, he wound up with problems right off the bat. Transmission went out, and we wound up replacing the transmission. And then a little bit after that, he blew up the motor. We did an engine in it. Again, this is first father and son project with him and I. He got it on the road and ran for quite some time. Kind of already talked about a little bit of that story with it. I'm not going to get into full detail of that. So the Camaro has the wrong front end on it. It's actually got a Sport Coupe or Berlinetta front end on it. I do want to get that swapped out one day. Parts are kind of getting hard to find for these cars, the third gens. The front end aftermarket is about $500-600, and it's just definitely out of budget, so I can't just go ahead and go buy it. I may get lucky and find one being parted out one day. I look daily in the classifieds, local classifieds, and in the Facebook marketplace to try to find one. Everything I always find is clear across the dang country, not even close. We're talking thousands of miles away that just can't even justify the shipping. It'd be into it just the cost of a new one. So the build started out. It's got a 350 in it now, and that's what came out of it. We did a 350 way back in the day. So pulled it apart and realized the block and everything was shot from the elements of it sitting. The car's been sitting for 28 years, actually probably 29 by now. And so from sitting, it just destroyed that engine. The only thing that was salvageable was the cylinder heads. It's got LT1 350 Corvette heads. The bottom end's a 354 bolt. It's got a heavy cam in it, gear drive, a high volume water pump, Summit intake. I've got the Phytech fuel injection on it. This car was a Crossfire fuel injection car. I tried like heck to figure out how to make that Crossfire injection run well, and it's just not plausible. If you know anything about the Crossfire injection, it was actually Chevy's biggest failure when it came to fuel injection. There was no upgrades that you could really do with it. The intake runners were so small that I just literally couldn't find any plausible reason to keep it. I then was going to go over to just a GM throttle body and go with some 454 injectors and up the fuel pressure and see how that ran. But then I wound up getting in a better position in life and wound up buying the Phytech fuel injection setup. I've heard mixed reviews with the Phytech. So far, I don't have an issue with it. I've heard it kind of both ways. It's a 50-50 thing on it when it comes to that. I still have a little bit of work to do under the hood. I need to get some new plug wires and new cap, new rotor, you know, a few odds and ends that I just kind of ran with what I had kicking around. When I had the engine out and apart, I cleaned up under the hood here, repainted, just made it look beautiful. Again, I need to pull it apart and do a stall converter in it, throw it back together. The block I had actually built from the ground up myself. It's when I still worked at the machine shop, so I did all the machine work. I did all new pistons, new cam, new bearings, new everything in this engine. I've got a heavy amount of cash into the engine. I've got a heavy amount of cash into the car. It does not show visually looking at the car, but we can kind of show you the hood and everything. I did a cowl injection hood. It's just something that I liked. I thought was kind of cool. So
can't really tell, but we threw some new coils in there.
Nice cowl.
I mean, some lowering springs in there.
It's got. We went through the whole suspension. It's got KYB struts and shocks. We pulled the rear end out, cleaned it up, went through it, made sure it was in good shape. Did all the brakes all the way around, did slotted rotors and stuff up front. I didn't go with upgraded brake package. Was just way too out of budget. Eventually down the road, I'd like to find a disc brake setup, rear end. There's quite a few things I'd like to do to this car. Obviously paint it, make it look good. It needs new rubber, needs a windshield. I need the stall converter. I need to build the exhaust still. Other than that, the car's just a really cool car. There's a lot of history to the car between my father, between him and I, and through the family. It's kind of bounced around. It came down to the point to where after Pops passed away, it sat in the garage for many years. My brother had got home out of the service, and I think he was home around a year or two, and then decided he wanted to start working on his projects and wanted the garage where the car was housed. So I went over and started cleaning it off and started snapping some pictures so we could put it up for sale. I went home that night and started uploading some pictures, and everything just started crashing into my head. You know, the first father and son project, the car that actually got me interested in automotive and fed my passion for automotive. And I felt like I couldn't get rid of it at that point. So I went and talked to my brother. I says, man, I don't know what to do. I don't have the money to store it. I don't have a place to put it. He made me a deal that I couldn't refuse. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll pay for a storage unit as long as you're showing progress, that you're going to actually do something with it. And I thought, I just couldn't turn that deal down. To show him I was serious, I went and pulled the engine before we went and put it in the storage unit and started working on the engine from that point on. He had stored it for me for probably around 8 to 10 months. Maybe it could have even been a little bit longer, but I know it wasn't more than a year. And then I had got into a position where I had somewhere to put it. From there, I moved the car around from place to place of where I went, slowly building the engine, because we are, poor folk, and just didn't have the money to just really jump into the build. The engine took me 6 years to finally complete and drop in. I had it running last July, and so I've been sitting on it, and it's driving me absolutely nuts to know that I wasn't able to put it on the road and have it legally on the road, registered and good to go. Again, little things that I need to do. I still need to get a different battery that fits actually the car. I just kind of got that battery sitting in there for now. So, I mean, that's the story of the Camaro. I hope you like the story. Again, keep watching for this car. We're going to be doing some stuff to it this summer. I'll build the exhaust. I mean, the goal is to have it on the road. Now I'm going to fire it up and let you guys hear it. Alright guys, got her running. It's been since probably October since we fired it up last. She's a little cold-blooded. It may even stall out. I don't know how it runs in the winter because it's the first time we've actually fired her up in the cold. Sounds like she's actually about ready to die out. So there's that. Hope you enjoyed it.